Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first welcome presentation and first day of class for the upcoming computer science capstone class. Welcome, and I'm so happy that you are in this class, and it is a great class. And this class is a way of bringing together in fruition all that you've learned throughout your degree program. So there'll be elements pretty much from many of the classes you have taken, especially those related to computer science. So use all those materials as your references, the previous textbooks, previous programs you wrote, previous handouts, references. That would be a great way for you then to have them handy as you are creating the material for this course. It's a capstone course, and what that means, it kind of caps it off. It just takes, it's a not like a cornerstone, we've heard of that, but this is the capstone. In other words, it brings everything together into one integrated form, and it will be based on a course project that you're going to be creating. And this course project is going to have various elements in it, and it'll be obviously elements of what you've already created for in previous classes, and it's just bringing it all together in one application. So you will have to come up with an user application that you want to create. You will decide on what languages you want to use. It could be Java, C++, Android, if you're going to do any iOS or Android, so Swift, C, or anything of that nature, depending on what you want to create. And you probably, hopefully have familiarity with using the Azure environment. That'd be a great way in order to have access to all the different system softwares that you may need and servers, and you also need to have a database system. And it's, think of it as just a mobile application that has a user, interacts with the user in some way. You're going to have a login screen where they have to have a password and login ID. And then you may have a home screen that comes up that kind of gives them the options as to what they can do. A simple one is they could do some kind of a searching into a database or searching for some directory or product. It's up to you, but remember, it's only a 5.5-week course, so keep it as simple as possible so that it's manageable and you can complete a successfully running product. That's the most important key here, is that it works. I do not take programs for grading that do not work. I am flexible in the deadline or the due dates of assignments. You can submit all the way up until the last day of class. You can even revise and resubmit up until the last day of class. But don't submit things to me if it's not working. And also, we will have time in the classroom. You can collaborate with your classmates. I kind of want to liken this as a actual workplace environment, and that's where you collaborate with your coworkers, and you share code, you share strategies, you share plans, and you will also be doing research on the internet, and also maybe the libraries and some scholarly works that you want to use. And this will help you then not only have references available for you when you are in the workplace, but also to share with your classmates. And this is a rich way for you to get access to information that someone else has searched for, and it's applicable to what you are doing. And it's very important to collaborate together. Again, having most projects in the workplace, maybe you already are working, but most IT projects are on a team basis. So it's learning how to work in a team, with a team, or more basically just to know how to collaborate with other people. So that is what I'm basing this course on, is you collaborate with each other in the forums. You can also set up some outside study groups if you wanted to, or sharing sessions, but discussion forums are there for you to share problems, questions, strategies, code, error messages, screenshots, and so forth. So you'll be surprised, even though you may have the same concept that another classmate may have for your project, you'll be so surprised as how different it is, because everyone is unique. You all have your individualized programming style. and system development, software design development style. So it's a great way to learn different strategies. It's a great way to show what you know as well as then learn from others what they have. They may have some way of doing code that you like, and you may go forward with that, or they may like something that you're offering, and they may go forward with that. So feel free to reach out to each other, and hopefully that will help within this process, just to make it a more collaborative and fun, enriching environment, rather than you're not in a vacuum doing your own work. Okay, so it's a combination of the diverse skill sets you already gained, as I already mentioned. So you're going to collaborate to develop a mobile cloud application system. So we'll make it mobile-based, and you can use the emulators so that you can see it working if you are in the design and development stages, rather than actually using a device. It's up to you. But it will also, it doesn't necessarily have to be mobile. It will take any kind of web application. So it could be a web. It doesn't necessarily specifically have to be mobile, depending on what you are comfortable with. You can use Azure. There'll be a lot of information about Azure. Hopefully, if you worked with it before, if you haven't worked with it before, then make sure you know that you need to use the login ID and information you get from Rasmussen in order to access Azure. Don't sign up yourself. Don't start downloading stuff yourself. You need to go through Rasmussen in order to have access to the Azure environment, because this will be then, Rasmussen is paying for it. And also there are, some strategies that when you are using Azure, to turn off services that you are not using, because Rasmussen is being charged. You may be investigating different services, this and that, and then if you're finding one is more optimal and what you want, make sure to close off and turn off all the other services that you may have started. So again, do you have to use Azure? No, you do not. You can just create a desktop application as well on your computer if you so wish. That is fine. The idea is just coming up and developing a product. That's the goal of this. You're going to have some kind of software product that you are developing. There are some guidelines and requirements for you to make sure are incorporated in your project, but again, I'm flexible. Whatever ideas you have, or there's something maybe you've already started and you want to continue and start enhancing. And do know whatever you create in this course, you can continue working on it. You may have other courses, or you may go on with your studies and keep enhancing and in using it. It's a good way to have something under your belt for working and practicing and enhancing when new features come out, or you learn new strategies and new code or libraries, and you can start adding it to your application. So it's kind of like a sandbox. You can use it to keep creating and keep learning. Or maybe something that you actually do want to use and you want to actually market it. Startup companies are started this way. You have an application that you are think it's good, and you created it, and you want to maybe think of putting it on the market and selling it. So that's always a possibility too. So make sure that if you do want to go that route, find incubators that are in your area that maybe will help fund startups. But also you need to have business sense. So not just having a product is never enough. You need to also know how to run a business if you're going to do a company on launch and market your product. But so that's where you can get this help, and there's a lot of experts out there that can help you. So find incubators in your area. The technological incubators are brainstorming area companies where they work with students or work with people who are having products and wanting to know how to go farther with that. So just something to give you hope for. I mean, again, you may be just doing something for this class, but do know that whatever you do for this class is beyond this class, and it can be beyond this class. One thing is that we also will be working on your transferable skills portfolio, and having a product that you created is a great way to illustrate to a prospective employer that you know what you're doing, and this is what you created, and you know how to do it. So hopefully you have an online presence somewhere, or online site somewhere. You can always start with LinkedIn. That's a good start right there, unless you're savvy enough and you create your own website. But you can upload your material. You should always upload any material that you created for any class. Just because you didn't get paid for it doesn't mean it doesn't show and illustrate your information. It sure does. It illustrates your skill set. So any projects you've created for classes are wonderful to upload to some kind of a website that you have for yourself. And again, when it comes to a prospective employer, I mean, you could say you know things, but they don't know until they actually see what you've done. And it's a great way then to have it and show what you've done. So, okay, so do know though, this is 5.5 week course. Things get away fast. So start planning, developing, and getting a good handle on what you want to do in week 1. Have an idea of what you are already familiar with and you can do, or you know how to find out how to do in case you don't know how to do it, because you don't have necessarily the time right now to learn new languages, for example, or new database systems, for example. Use what you know to create something in a manageable amount of time, 5.5 weeks. So if you're planning right now, this first week is most important because in general, the more a system design and development product is planned, the less problems down the road. So you have to make sure that what you think you're going to do, you can envision actually doing it and have an idea of how to do it, so then it's a matter of just doing it. So don't go far-reaching for something spectacular, which is great. I mean, maybe you have time, slim it down, do just a portion of it to work and make sure you have something successfully running at the end of this course, for this course, and then you can always add to it as you go on professionally and as a hobby, forward working. So that's the strategies here. So I've just ran this course a lot, and I had some, things that people are coming up with products that most companies take a whole year to create. So yeah, we don't have a year. We have a 5.5 weeks. And some of that, again, think of half of that is just debugging and making sure things fit together and work together, especially at the end. And also you have discussion questions, and also you have transferable skill assignments, and you may have other classes as well. So make sure what you decide to do, you have a handle on it, and you have a confidence in yourself that you can do it. And also you can reach out to your class. So the course objectives, you're going to analyze a business proposal, create an application architecture, collaborate in the development of a project plan, collaborate in the development of a mobile cloud software system. Again, that's on flexible on what you do there, and you're going to test it and you're going to deploy it. Okay, so coming up with an idea, business proposal, yes, typically you have business use cases. I'm a very diagram, visual person, especially, and when it comes into the workplace, they're very handy because not everybody's so technical or wants to read technical documents. So having diagrams are very meeting friendly when it comes to higher ups and executives. Remember, if you're going to make a proposal, maybe this is something at work that you do want to propose, feel free to do that as well. If this is like a project you want to initiate at work, and it can help you manageable in 5.5 weeks, and it can help you with your work, by all means, please do that and use that as your possible project. The more you can, make use in the workplace of what you're doing now, the more beneficial it is for you. Create an application architecture. You're going to plan out what it is that you are using, what software environment, what languages, what database that you're going to use, or cloud system, or Azure. What are all the different, there's a variety of them. Use what you're comfortable with, use what you know. This is not the time necessarily to learn something new unless you can learn something new very, very quickly, because you are already going to be creating a product on your own. So that itself is challenging. And you're going to collaborate, and that's definitely, you're going to collaborate with each other in a project plan. So I will put out some templates for you as well. This is kind of a general presentation. I kind of want to first see what your ideas are. Then I'll give you some more targeted resources that will help you in, whatever language you're using, environment you're using, application you're using. then I can get you some actual diagrams that will fit more tightly to what you are doing. Right now, it's going to be general because we haven't, I don't know what you're doing yet. So the more I know about what you're doing, so that's why the week one discussion is very helpful, because this is where you can start talking about your ideas and be specific about things, so that this way I can help gear you and direct you or give you resources that will be helpful in what you're doing. Using templates are great. So there are, IEEE has a lot of, sorry, I just got a new. So IEEE software templates, software design document, I guess you could say. There's a lot of templates that are used, and I would recommend you look at them because these are more than likely used in the workplace. So IEEE software design documents. I didn't give any examples. Again, these will be in the classroom, but there is the software engineering book of knowledge. It's SWEBOC, which is also something. So SWEBOC has a software engineering book of knowledge. So they are responsible for standardizing kind of the processes that are followed, best practices and strategies that are followed to create a software product. So it takes you from the step one all the way to deploying and launching your product. So I will offer to you these documents and these templates that kind of help you, outline what it is that you are doing. So, you would want to specify this in the template, plus probably you would want to also have diagrams, right? And just kind of specify the details of what you want to use. The testing will come. That's part of the design. Typically, you will say at what stages you will test, and also you would include perhaps test cases, right? So test cases are where you have like a set of input values, and you already know what the result should be, okay, because maybe you manually calculated it, but you're going to use these values to test your program, and then if it does have the correct results as you deem it should have, then you know it's running properly. But if the results are incorrect, then you know it's not. So every stage, starting with week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, so every stage does have 2 components. One is the actual source code and the program itself, and then the other one is the actual testing of it, make sure it works. And it's always a good strategy to test in units. You're going to have the different components of, it could be a large software system, and you'll have different components, and you kind of need to break down how each are tested, but also you need to make sure they all integrate together as well, since you are working with a database. So you're going to have some kind of GUI, graphical user interface, user interaction with the database, and you have to make sure that they work together. Okay, so these are the course objectives, and we will pretty much every week kind of as you do a little bit of all of this. The first week, obviously, is going to be when you're going to be deciding on what you're going to do, and the rest is you're going to be developing it, you're going to be testing it. And it's 5.5 weeks. So, again, watch your time. If you've taken programming courses already, you kind of know that it does take additional time to get things done, especially when it comes to debugging. But the better you plan it, the less problems you have for errors. But don't just go to the screen and start typing in code. You need to use some programming tools prior to make sure that what you have is sound and is correct. So I'm not sure what you like to use. There's pseudocode, the flow charts, there's UML diagrams, storyboards. So I will show a few of those. But that's what I kind of want to see already in this first step and this first assignment. But in general, this is just typical courses. You've taken courses already, and you do have to make at least 3 discussion posts. I may say 2, but no, actually you'll need to answer the discussion question and reply to at least 2 classmates. Very important. And complete your assignments on time as required, but you are welcome to collaborate with your classmates. And also, I am flexible with the due dates because I want you to don't turn it in unless it successfully runs and is correct. You turn it in to me and I'm going to say it doesn't work, keep working on it. I mean, we're just going to go back and forth and volley your assignment back and forth. So only give it if it's correct. And if you have issues, many options, right? Post in the discussion forum for assistance from your classmates. Email the class. Texting is very helpful to alerting me that, hey, maybe you emailed me or you posted something in the discussion forum. So it can be in the general course questions or it can be the actual week discussion as well. But more importantly, read everybody else's posts. You'll find valuable information. This is where you're going to see maybe somebody already posed the question you had or had the error you had, and they already said how they solved it. So this is important for you then to not just post your own and be done with it. Read everything that's out there, and not just the 2 people. I mean, we want 3 posts. That's for grading purposes, but you still can review everybody else's posts and see what kind of references they have. What is their example code they're showing? What are the strategies they are using? And this is how you learn. These classes are typical in the sense that there's a variety of levels of skills. You have some people that are maybe working in the field already, and some that are brand new. So if you're brand new, ask questions. That's how you're going to know. And those of you who are more seasoned or experienced, please help out if you see questions and you know the answer to that, because it'll help reinforce you as to what you do know, but also if you don't ask, you won't be able to get help. So, but again, I'm just one resource. Know that your entire class is a resource for you as well. So I may not have, I may have already been done with my work and looking in the classroom, and then you send me something, so it's going to wait till what, the next day, time I'm in the classroom. So if you're posting it also for your classmates, they may already be able to grab it and address it and help you with it as well. So always post in the discussion forums, the general course questions. You can email the class, and then nothing is ever, to the point that, again, since I'm flexible with deadlines, there's no really pressure that you have to get things done in time. The only thing is towards the end of the course, make sure you do have something and it is done. Don't wait till the last minute, because then you will be panicked. So don't do that. But it always can wait if there's issues. And sometimes you need to walk away from your code too if you have a problem. You need to walk away. Okay, so by the end of this module, you're going to evaluate the best program for a customer's project, choose the best approach to accomplish the project, and formulate instruction architecture for the project. Okay, this is the really, really important here. You need to spend a lot of time here. Once you figure this out, the rest of the weeks will be a lot easier because you already have a direction and you have an understanding of what you're doing. But do know you can always switch your project too. Say after week 2 or week 3, you're like, no, this isn't working for me. I'd really want to do something else. That's fine. You can do that as well, because it's more importantly that you get something done, and obviously you need to complete the class. But more importantly is whenever you are thinking about what you're going to do, make sure it is manageable for you. You have an understanding of what it is. You can do it. You're familiar with what you are thinking of doing. Don't suggest something that you've never done anything for unless you're that savvy and you have that much time in the world that you can. I mean, I don't want to stop you there, but do know this is a 5.5-week course. Graded assignments, yes, you need to, discussion questions, I'm sorry. For the first week, it's on Thursday. I didn't change this slide. I will change this, so don't refer to this slide because I usually teach the courses that start on Mondays. So I'm more familiar with that structure, but this one is a little bit, since we're starting on Wednesday. So your Wednesday and Thursday is like that half a week that we have in the other courses. So after this week, I said this is not even correct, but for sure, live classrooms are Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Everything else needs to be in by Sunday. All assignments, so please disregard this. I will get you another one here. So all assignments are due on Sunday. Our initial reply posts this week only is Thursday, but we're live reply posts I'm typing this out at the same time I'm talking. Through 6, due on Tuesdays. Not reply. Initial post. I'm sorry. Initial post. Sorry. Let me rewrite this. Okay. So initial post weeks 2 through 6 are due. No, 2 through 5. 2 through 6 are due on Tuesday, and replies on Saturday. I have a strange keyboard I'm using with the strange keyboard, so sorry for the typos here. Every time it takes me to type it out. So everything's due Sunday, like all sessions in this Rasmussen, all the different versions. Initial posts are due Tuesday and replies on Saturday. Just for this week, our initial post is due Thursday, but still reply is Saturday. Okay. So we won't look at the slide. I will update this when I put the slides back into upload to the file. But for sure, very important. One thing I do require that you do for all your discussion question answers is to offer some references. You really need to not only research what you're doing, learn about it, find out about it, because it should not just be off the top of your head, because there's more information and opportunities and options out there that you should be learning about. Also helps you build a reference library for yourself. When you are in the workplace, you're going to always have new situations coming up where you're going to have to figure it out and learn about it. So having references that make sense to you, that work for you, that help you learn, you can learn from, is great to have. Maybe you already start building that up. But if not, for sure do. And also it allows you then to also just share this with your classmates. You may have some great references that they didn't know about, but then you offered it. So they found, yeah, it does help them learn. Remember, you don't just have one resource to learn anything. There's a variety of resources out there. And also you have to know your own learning style. You have to know what works for you. Is it a video that works better than reading a web page? Or is it a textbook that works better for you, printed book, than anything else? When it comes, though, to software or material or design, development, the latest, typically the latest and greatest would be online. So if you have updates to software, updates to databases, all of this would be online. So this is probably should be your main go-to. But for any language you use, make sure you reference the API reference library. And for any database you use, go to that database website, the manufacturer's website, because they don't have tutorials on how to do things, but they will be the best quality of ones. Unless you found already a series of YouTube videos perhaps that work for you, or interactive websites that work for you. I mean, you can learn languages interactively, or maybe you have already learned interactively. But in case something comes up, it'll be a reference for you to go to so you can help solve your problems. But again, don't take someone, if you're so, if it takes you so long on a particular element of what you're working on, bring it to the class, because somebody maybe has the insight and can tell you something in 5 minutes where you spent 5 hours on it. More eyes on something is always better. Sometimes yourself, if you wrote a program, I don't know if you've experienced, but if you wrote a program, all of a sudden your brain can sometimes corrects the mistake. So you can stare at it forever, but you'll never see the mistake because your brain corrects it. So it's always better to have a fresh pair of eyes, or just, walk away and come back with, some fresh time away from it. So, but yes, this is very important now. So talk about your ideas. Hopefully you've been thinking about it. If not, this is the time. And start early in the week, so your classmates will have time to review what you posted, so they can make your comments. I can make comments. Read what I wrote, and I will start also giving you resources once I know what it is that you are doing that I may find helpful for you. Let me know if something is helpful, or something you maybe need more of. I'm more than happy to help get that for you. And I won't write your program for you. No, I won't do your project for you. That's for sure. No, that's something you need to do, but I can help mentor you in doing it. But it's something that we're all in it together. And then your replies. So when somebody does post something, review their links. These are references. Again, very, very important. If you're going to do any posting should be, you're going to have a discussion. You should have some example diagram or code or UML, flowchart, pseudocode, something. Have additional stuff. Don't just talk about it. Have additional stuff that you're already working on and thinking about, and then references. Okay, those are three things I'm always going to look for in every post for you to get quality. It has to have a discussion or, answer to the discussion question. It has to have some kind of example, code, diagram, visualization, and also references. And then this is helpful then also for your classmates. So that's why I say, read all the posts because it'll be great information for you as well. And when you reply to your classmates, same thing. If they gave you some code, maybe run the code and show the screenshots for the code. Or if they have links, go look at their references and see if maybe it helps you. Did you get something even further that helped you with that? So that's kind of what the discussion and collaboration should be about. So I'm looking for rich contributions and rich collaboration and interaction. And again, use references. I'll post this in the classroom so you can look at it. But we want quality work here. And another point is that a lot of companies, have online presence, right? They maybe have wikis or blogs. And if you already have the ability to write well, to offer examples, have references, then you'll be able to help and kind of stand out maybe in the company because you can then contribute to their wikis or blogs. So again, everything you're doing here will help give you that skill that can be used further in your professional career. So if you start learning how to write an article, as you would see online that you may be already reading, start fashioning that when you are writing out your discussion posts. But also, these are a way to get you, have some nice, well thought out words, verbiage, concepts put in a form that if you are on an interview, you already thought it out. You already kind of know how to say it in a polished, intellectual manner because you've already done it with the discussion post. And that's also what your transferable skill assignment will be in your portfolio that you will have. So do take the time on it because these are the questions you will have when you are on an interview. So, this is a great way to start preparing for that, a way to have things in front of you. So, or just, a way of wording something that sounds very knowledgeable, intelligent, like you know what you're talking about. And it helps, again, having references or knowing experts in the field, knowing the latest and greatest technologies. That definitely is very important especially when not only on an interview, but if you're in a meeting at work, you want to make sure that when proposals are made or initiatives are brought upon, you know the latest and greatest and how it will work or won't work. That's why at the end of this, one of the slides towards the end of this presentation are the organizations to join. So it's very important that you join professional organizations as well. You can get a discount if you're a student, but also your work can pay for it. But it's very important because these are the organizations that set the standards that are going to be used in the workplace in the future. So knowing what's coming down the pipeline in a mainstream, workplace processes and procedures, then when you are in a meeting and they're going to say they want to do this, and you could say, no, down the road it's going to be this. So then you can fashion and make any kind of analysis, much more accurate because you have this knowledge of strategies and technologies that are coming down the road. So plagiarism, don't just copy and paste. But I don't know if this is going to be a copy and paste kind of course anyway, because you really are talking about your own ideas and your projects. So this is something that will be different. However, when it does come to your transferable skills assignments, don't just copy and paste from a website. That's the easiest way to commit plagiarism. Whenever you do copy and paste, when you're formulating a paper or something, you can copy and paste the words, but make sure you also bring a link with you. It's fine to use other people's ideas. All you have to do is cite and reference it. That's fine to use other people's ideas, but you got to make sure that when you copy and paste it, that you remember that it is someone else's words and to cite it and reference it properly. So these are just examples of plagiarism. Hopefully right now you're at a capstone course, so maybe you kind of know a lot about this. And also you can, anything that you've written yourself can be credited, used as a citations of reference as well. And also personal conversations. Maybe you learned about something at work. You talk to your boss. That can be used as a personal interview. Are also fair game for citations and references. Yeah, a lot of ways that you can use information, but just cite and reference if it's not your idea. So again, we'll make sure that I post that in the classroom. Now, when it comes to code, there's a tricky situation there. There's a lot of code sometimes online that maybe you could use. Some of it is free for using, and some may not. Some might be copyrighted. So for the classroom, can you use copyrighted code for the classroom? Yes, you can. Just make sure you cite and reference it, that you are using it. But in the workplace, no. If you're working for a company, I'll make sure you don't do that, because that could be a lawsuit for that company. You definitely don't want to be responsible for that. So do always be aware of if you are using someone else's code. Again, just as long as you cite and reference it, it's fine. And if you can get someone else, usually pre-written code is what you do as an object-oriented programmer anyway, right? You have class libraries of code that you use. So being able to get it to work, that's another skill in itself. So yes, you can, but getting it to work, but also just cite that you have. And then when you turn anything in for assignments, yes, it's got to be, everything needs to be turned into a Word document. Okay, so you're going to do screenshot things to illustrate a successful execution or a successful creation, and this is and source code. So source code for any programming you're doing, table definitions for any databases you're creating, a query design. If you're going to use SQL or whatever you're going to be using, you need to also, the source code in whatever form for whatever object you're using is needed to be copied and pasted in a Word document, and then the screenshots of it successfully running or illustrating it, like a table definition or a query results after a query is run, or a graphical user interface before with data that's input, and then the results after a button is submitted. So you'd have to do those, both those types of a screenshot. So it's just illustrating everything that's working, because Blackboard is best for Blackboard than for when I do grading. Everything Word will automatically open up. I'll see all your source information, and I'll see all your screenshots, and that's what you're going to submit to me. Do not give me that zip files. Do not give me databases. Give me all of that. And I'm sure Rasmussen will be happy that you're not doing that either, because that way it bogs down our system as well. So hopefully that'll become clear. If you have questions about that, do ask. So for the course project, you will create the initial iteration of an app or a mobile app that will function as a portal for current customers of a specific company or service provider. So the company service provider will be the client of this app, can be your choice of a complete redesign of a current app you use with login features such as bank, video streaming, service, pharmacy, or school. So the idea is you're going to have some interaction with a customer. There's got to be a login screen. There's going to be a home screen or a splash screen, and then maybe one or two activities that a user can do as they're in your application, and then you showing the results, or whatever it is that the customer requests from your website, and also to log out. So there also has to be a log out feature. So I think it's up to 5 screens. If you want to do more, that's fine. But again, it's 5.5 weeks. There you go, 5.5 weeks, 5 screens, 1 screen a week. There you go. But then you also need the underlying back-end processing. So your choice. Keep it simple, manageable, something you know you can do. So a new design for your company, a hypothetical scenario where you run your own programming mobile development company where the app allows current clients to log in, see customer-specific information like pricing, current costs, etc. So you can use any technology, language, or program to develop your project as you've learned this far. So that's what, again, you're going to talk about in this week one. Integrate technologies that were not formally covered, that's fine too. Maybe you worked on a project, and again, anything work-related is great. Anything you can add to your work is great. So, or anything you maybe want to start up with, there's a lot of great ideas. It's all up to you. What you can come up with, I mean, the ideas can be great, but don't forget, you have to make it manageable and fix it in 5.5 weeks. What do you have to do this is the entire course project requirements. You're going to have some kind of app badge or icon or logo. The app's initial home screen when launched, complete with basic company information, logo, and login fields for username and password. A database with a minimum of 5 user accounts. 3 app screens after login. So about us or services or current orders, search results. You're going to have them search. Properly functioning sign up button available on all pages, including a screen confirming successful sign up. So that's your goal, is to create this for whatever purpose, it's up to you. Whatever language, it's up to you. Whatever database, it's up to you. But obviously you want to stick to best practices and strategies, latest and greatest. You want to also, and hopefully maybe you do know about that, or maybe not, to maybe say, okay, what is the best way to do an app badge, icon, or logo? What are colors to use for screen? How can I make sure I don't make it too busy or add too much? So again, you can always enhance after this class. The goal is just to get something done for this class. And here's your timeline. Okay, so week 1, we're going to start doing the idea brainstorming. And also you're going to have your diagrams, and you're going to have, we'll talk about that. You're going to have a specification of what you're going to do. You're going to have some use case diagrams, maybe some storyboard diagrams, no code, flowchart. Get as much planning as possible you can now so that you have this whole vision and it's a doable vision. So you're going to create your home screen in a database, and then you're going to test it. Then you're going to do more screens, and then you're going to test it. More screens, you're going to test it. And then the flow chart is at the end, which again, I'm interesting to me. I didn't develop this course, so it's interesting to me. I don't know if you want to do it at the end, but there you go. You can. And program flow logic. So I think this is actually what you should be doing in week 1. So a lot of this you may get done. Whatever you do in week 1, if you're going to have a flow chart, flow logic, then you've already done week 5. Okay, so do know that what you submit in week 1, if you're going to do some diagrams, fine. Then, and also you may have made some changes during the way, but then you can finalize it for week 5. So that way you kind of get a head start. And submit in week 6 your final project. If you're done ahead of time, post it in the classroom. I will always do that. So every week I will ask you to post your previous week's work. This way you can share your strategies and what you created so far. And this makes it, fun to see. You can virtually learn through other people's case studies, what languages they did, and so forth. So for this part of the project, in a Word document, create a plan on what project and platform you will use. Create an outline of how you accomplish this. Create an outline of the structure and architecture, and create an app badge, icon, logo. Okay, so yes, so you're going to do the plan. You're going to kind of give a step, kind of like your outline is kind of like a scheduling, Gantt chart kind of a thing. And then the outline of the structure and architecture. In other words, you can specify what languages, what systems, etc. you're going to use. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that you need to complete. No, sorry, 4 things you need to complete for the week 1 course project. So here we are. You're going to start working with software architecture. That's one area. So specify the product, specify the software, create software. So those are the 3 steps you're going to do. You're going to start even with the design modules, which would be great. So if you get these 1, 2, 3, 4 steps done now this week, then you'll be ahead of the game. It'll be great. The rest will be implementation and testing is when you're going to actually start creating it. Design modules in the sense that you won't create them or code them yet, but you can give some idea of what they look like, how they're going to function that you can already talk about ahead of time. Here's a hypo chart. This is a hierarchical input process output chart. In other words, it kind of just shows the different levels. You may have something like this for your system, right? You're going to have a login screen, and then you're going to have the other screens that you have, so you can kind of, it's an event-driven diagram, more or less. In order to start, you have that first screen come up, right? They have to enter in, log in, their login credentials, and then it goes from there as to what they can do. So this is a way of just mapping it out for yourself. Here's another idea. This is a use case diagram. A lot of, again, visuals are great. It also shows things work or things that may not work. So this is a use case diagram for mobile banking application. These are all the options of what a user can do. You can choose something like this and just, again, you don't need to do all these different activities or actions. Here's a UML class diagram. This is important, the diagram to have too. This kind of just specifies your database, right, in your field. So, or your classes, I'm sorry, I'm talking databases, right, but then we're also going to be doing databases. So this is a good idea too, to know how things are related, how to your different objects that you're going to be using or entities that you're going to be using, and an entity relational diagram is good to have as well. That's one example I put in here. Storyboards. There you go. What's it going to look like? What's the flow? So again, a lot of things that you're going to do here can work for week 5. So think of week 1. The more you put into week 1, the less you have to put into week 5. Okay, so the next activity is your transferable skills. And this is where every week you're going to write something out about your processes. But again, this is a way now to give you some really nice composed answers when you are in an interview or if you are in a team meeting. This is good information, but again, a lot of this can come off the top of your head until you start formulating, think about it, and the more polished your answer is, the more, credible and accurate and seasoned of a person you look like or skilled, so that it will be something that an employer, would want to hire. So this is also geared towards maybe some kind of e-portfolio or put it online. Can't stress this enough. Everything you've done for a class, if it's a project, put it online. It shows skills. It shows what you've done. And this transferable skills, this gives you a way of narrating the process you taught when you created it. That's important too. They have to know how methodical you are. And if you're following best practices and standards. So that's why I do want to say for you to look again, I'll bring this up again, the SWEBOC documents. Look for your SWEBOC documents. And that's actually going to be the keyword. So I'm going to put the keyword so that you can enter this in, is SWEBOC. So keyword is SWEBOC, and that's what you're going to enter in, so you can credit for reviewing the recording of this. I think there was an error somewhere in the classroom that was saying it was at 6 o'clock, but then the calendar did have it at 3 o'clock, and all the announcements had it at 3 o'clock, so that's why this is 3 o'clock. But going forward, every Wednesday at 3 o'clock is when we will have this live session, and at Central Standard Time. But anyway, so the transferable skills, it's important that you learn what transferable skills are and how important it is to learn them as they apply to this course. You will tie those abilities to the transferable skills in a document to study so you can talk knowledgeable with a prospective employer. This document will have to be prepared, certain skills, and a lot of the questions that we're asking you here in this course, I guarantee you're going to be asked in an interview. So you're already going to have a good way of knowing how to answer it. For this one, we'll compose 1 to 2 paragraphs for each module discussing the transferable skills that you have used in the module and what parts of the assignment require their use. Oh, I'm sorry, each week. So each week, you're going to do a part of this. Then in week 6, you're going to have a complete document where you're going to combine all weeks together into one fluid document. So envision that you will be having this discussion with a prospective employer during an interview. You will be discussing your course project to showcase your skills as a programmer, So you could also showcase your other instinctive skills of critical thinking, digital fluency, information literacy, communication ethics, and professional responsibility, and diversity and teamwork. So a lot of this stuff you may not have thought of bringing it up into a you know into an interview. I mean, you may not. This is what makes it savvy is that you do after doing this project here. You're going to know now to bring these little things in because that may perk someone's ear up and say, "Hey, that's right. They do know about ethics. They do know about professional responsibility. You might be talking to somebody about how you're going to do a program, or what was the steps that you did to create a program, but you maybe didn't think about bringing all these other things because your focus is on how you created this program from a technical point of view. So this is why if you get used to bringing all these other areas in, it just shows how well-rounded you are and how better, skilled you are, or the skills that you have. So week one, what are you going to do? You're going to talk about what search strategies in the research process to locate scholarly resources did you use? Why was it important to seek sophisticated, high-quality resources? Very important, right? So that's why I always say go to the actual manufacturer of a product or a software product or a language. Go to the API reference libraries. Go to the professional organizations like IEEE, ACM, or those communities built upon a particular technology. How does the platform and the approach you have chosen help contribute to professional in-field knowledge of being a developer? Is it, something that's being used? Bring in the research. Is this something that's commonly used for this type of an application? And please explain this as you would explain it to a potential employer or if you were in an interview. Okay, so gives you time to thought. Again, this can also be posted online because this is for employers then to see what you can and do know. So class collaboration, yes, please work with each other. This is very important, and it also allows you to develop skills on how to collaborate in the workplace. Everybody can have, please do help if you have an answer. If you have a question, please do post. That's how you're going to know. Oh, you're not in a vacuum. Read all the discussion posts. I can't stress that. A lot of valuable information. Read also the general questions. You may not have a question, but you'll be surprised at what you will learn by just looking at other people's questions and the answers that come from those questions. Because maybe you don't have that problem now, but you may in the future, right? And then you've already seen the possibility, resolution, and answer. And also, I'll be bringing in links and videos. You as well need to bring in links. Remember, every discussion question should have your discussion, some kind of visual illustration of what you're talking about, and then the references. Can it be from references? I mean, the information from online? Sure. That's why you have the references there. But this is how you're going to learn, how you're going to share. You're not in a vacuum. So, again, this is Capstone, so hopefully you've gone through a lot of this, but management is important. Week one is very, very important. Again, share what you do in week one. Give you an idea of what you can accomplish, finish in week 6. Okay, really 5.5. So make sure you already have an idea. It's like, yes, I have this idea. I already know I can do this. I can do this. I can do this, and I can get it done. It may take me 5 weeks to do it, but I know I can do it. Okay, so that's that part of those steps that you're going to be putting in. You're going to put in a project plan. You're going to put in some kind of a schedule. And then you're going to put in some diagrams. And then have an app badge or icon or logo. All the same. Again, these are off because we know Wednesday live, the classroom is 3 p.m. But everything else, and I will have also I will also have office hours Wednesdays 2 to 3, but every Monday I will be posting, every Sunday, change that again, the schedule was off because I wasn't sure. So Sunday, all upcoming, let's see, Sunday is upcoming preview. I will review, do these slides over. Initial post, Tuesday. Reply post, Saturday. Saturday, you saw that, and then assignments due Sunday. Yeah, I don't like this keyboard. So sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, you got what I got. Okay. Assignments are due Sundays. Okay. So the only thing is that since this starts Wednesday, Thursday will be your first. And I'm pretty good on grades, so I should get them in Mondays, Tuesdays, the latest. And this is when I'm usually available. Weekends, yeah. Sundays, I'm kind of like I have faith. I go to church. I have dinner with the family. So don't wait till Sunday to give me questions. Start early in the week, and get your questions answered before assignments are due. Here's information, live classroom. This is all accurate here. This is correct. I will post the slides here, and here are some of the organizations. Yeah, joint organizations, ACM and IEEE, again, a lot of them set the standards for what's being used in the workplace, and for you to know what they are is a good advantage when you are in any team meeting and you're doing some kind of a proposal, initiative, or analysis. So thank you so much, and hopefully you will review this. And the keyword again is SWEBOK, SWEBOK. But again, just go learn what SWEBOK is, and then learn all the different steps. SWEBOK gives you the steps. It's the Software Engineering Book of Knowledge. It gives you the steps that you would typically follow when you're creating a software product. So it's good information. You can use the templates that can maybe help you when you're fashioning the design and for your program or your assignment. And again, see you in the classroom, and good luck with everything. And don't hesitate to reach out to your classmates and me. We are all in this together, and let the learning fun begin. Have a great day. Bye.